Warframe Lessons, Zanuka. To better understand this terrifying proxy given flesh, we must go back into the past to a 6-day war between the Corpus and the Grineer that nearly tore the Origin system apart and forced the Tenno to make a terrible choice to try and prevent the birth of a monster. Sedna. The dwarf planet controlled by the Grineer is the last place you would expect to find anything of value. But that is exactly what Corpus scientist and entrepreneur Alid V discovered. A cache of Warframes still sealed away, sleeping in perfect stasis inside their cryopods, their existence unknown even to the Lotus. Alid V laid claim to the Tenno on site, planning to use them for a secret weapon he called the Zanuka Project. However, when Grineer General Sargus Rock got wind that Alid V intended to lay claim to the Tenno found on Grineer soil, he demanded Alid V to get off his planet and hand the Tenno over. Alid V refused to give up the Tenno and retreated with the first batch he collected to Mars, intent to continue his plans and retrieve more from a fortified outpost on the Red Planet. Sargus Rock did as any proper Grineer general would do in the face of this defiance. He attacked Alid V on Mars, then took the rest of the Grineer army and laid claim to every Corpus settlement across the Origin system. In the eyes of the Grineer, the Corpus had violated a sacred contract between the two factions, a contract that neither side would ever weaponize the Origin technology that was the Warframes, and Alid V intended to do just that. Meanwhile, deep in her hallowed chambers, the Lotus saw the incoming conflict between the Corpus and the Grineer as a threat to the delicate balance of the entire Origin system. Thus the sentient queen gave the Tenno under her sway a choice. Side with the Grineer and rescue the Tenno still sleeping on Sedna, yet risk the Grineer gaining more territory. Or side with the Corpus and drive back the Grineer war machine, but lose the Tenno that remained on Sedna. The Tenno made their choices, and the choice they made was clear. Full-scale war broke out between the Grineer, the Corpus, and their allied Tenno in a now-forgotten place known as Gradivus Mars, and thus began the conflict known as the Gradivus Dilemma. 6 days later, the dilemma was over, with the Grineer and their allied Tenno victorious. The Tenno that remained still sleeping on Sedna were located by the Lotus and taken away to safety. Alid V fell into massive debt with the Corpus Board of Directors as a result of the dilemma after it ate into their resources and their credits. All funding for his Zanuka project was halted, and Alid V was forced to retreat to his secret research facility on Themisto within the gas city of Jupiter. Alid V may have been defeated in the Gradivus Dilemma, but not every Warframe that he discovered on Sedna escaped his grasp. This was only the beginning of the horrors of the Zanuka Project. Time passed, and word began to spread amongst the Tenno that Alid V had been conducting horrific experiments on an unknown Warframe to further his Zanuka Project. Indeed, one cannot even whisper the name of Zanuka without invoking the suffering that Valkyr endured under the hands of Alid V. However, the story of the feline Warframe, too angry and scorned to die, will have to wait for another time. This information came from none other than the chairman of the Corpus Board of Directors himself, Frod Beck. The chairman desired to hunt down Alid V to reclaim the vast amounts of debts Alid V owed the board as a result of them funding the Dilemma and the Zanuka Project. Frodberg also feared that if Alad V's Zanuka project came to fruition, he would lose his sway over the board. However, this information from the chairman came too late. Alad V was successful in constructing a working Zanuka prototype that he used to defend himself from the Tenno that came to assault him. However, despite being made of Warframe parts, Zanuka was no match for the Tenno. They successfully defeated Zanuka and rescued the remaining Warframes, including Valkyr, that Alad V had held prisoner in his secret lab on Themisto. However, even this was not the end. With his Zanuka proxy destroyed, resources dwindling, and funding at the lowest ever, Alad V developed the Zanuka Hunters. These sub-proxies were easier to mass-produce and could be sent out to hunt down unwary Tenno, seize their Warframes, and drag them back to Alad V's laboratories. There they will be dissected, their parts sold to the highest corpus bidders in order to make more Zanuka Hunters, or to continue his experiments. That is unless the Tenno break free and remind the corpus once again what it means to fuck around and find out.
Know that the ride or die. I keep well by my seat. Know that the ride or die. I keep well by my seat.
End of lesson.